Doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to drop some knowledge off to us.
Awesome. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Doc, I just want to know, you were an NFL cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints. Tell us what got you into cheerleading, and come on, let's call it Cowboys or Saints.
So I am a Saints fan. I am black and gold until the day I die. I know I'm in Dallas now, so please don't hold it against me, but I bleed black and gold through and through. I've been dancing since I was about 3 years old, primarily classically trained in ballet, but I also did jazz, tap, and gymnastics. And so from there through middle school and high school, and even college, I fell in love with cheerleading. And when I decided to go to graduate school at Tulane University, I really missed cheerleading. I missed the rush of being on the field. I missed being at the games. And so randomly, I just kind of was like, I think I'm going to go try out for one of the professional teams, because it was a great way to stay in shape and, you know, still dance and be a part of the team. And so for 4 years, I cheered for the New Orleans Saints.
Wow, that is amazing. So you are a dermatologist. What made you choose dermatology?
So I first fell in love with dermatology, or I first was introduced to dermatology, I should say, when I dealt with acne as an adult. You know, a lot of times, you know, patients will deal with acne maybe in their teenage years or maybe their young adult years. But when I had finished undergrad, I had moved to New Orleans and I started to experience acne, and it really started to affect my self-esteem and confidence. So I ended up seeing a dermatologist in New Orleans, and she really helped me regain confidence in myself, and she really helped me learn how to take care of my skin properly. And I really loved that she took a special interest in my life and what was going on in my life. And so when I went to medical school, I always held that relationship, you know, just very true to me. I'm a very visual learner. I think some of that comes from my dancing background. So I like to see what it is I'm treating. I like to see what it is I'm doing. I like to see what it is that I'm diagnosing. So dermatology gives me the benefit of being able to work with my hands. I visually get to see what I'm diagnosing, and I get to treat a wide variety of patients, all ages, both male and female.
So do acne outbreaks affect the self-esteem in young teenagers when their faces start breaking out?
Absolutely, because you have to think about it. When you have young teenagers, that's where they're really starting to, you know, somewhat develop a little bit of their self-identity. You know, they're starting to, you know, hang out with friends. They may be starting to date or, you know, start to have an interest in someone. And so I feel like that's a very sensitive time where if they have acne or acne scars, it can really affect how they feel about themselves and their self-confidence. You know, in addition to treating acne, I love treating patients' acne scars, because I sometimes will meet patients in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s who still, you know, may be dealing with just not feeling as confident about themselves because of the long-lasting effects of either their acne or acne scars.
I like that. I like that. So let's talk about all things skincare.
Yes, all things skincare. So you cannot go to a dermatologist without talking about products that you're putting on your skin. If there's one product that everyone should use, no matter your race, age, ethnicity, background, it should be sunscreen. And I know that's still something that we're preaching a lot to just a lot of different patients, primarily because you want to protect your skin from the UV rays that are coming from the sun. But also, a lot of us now are spending time inside where we're sitting in front of computers, we're on our cell phones, we're underneath the lights in our house, and that emits visible light and blue light. And what we're starting to see now is that blue light that's emitted from your phones and computer screens can actually cause more discoloration, particularly in skin of color. So even as we are on the Brandon Holt show, I definitely touched up with some of my sunscreen because it's extremely important that I protect my skin and practice what I preach.
Wow. So what are some signs of skin cancer? I know myself, when I see a little bump, I'm going to the doctor. What are some signs like, hey, you know, this is abnormal?
Okay, so we call it the ABCDs of lesions, or when you're looking for skin cancers. So ideally, if you have a mole or possibly a spot on your skin that is asymmetric, meaning that it doesn't look like a nice even circle, it has some edges that are a little bit jagged, that's something to look out for. B is for borders, again, meaning that the borders are not even, they're not nice and smooth. That's something to look out for. C is color. So a lot of your skin lesions or moles, they should be a nice even color, whether it's nice and evenly red, it's nice and even brown color versus light brown or dark brown. So if you start to have lesions that have multiple colors, it's light brown, it's dark brown, it's bluish looking, it's even gray looking, that's something that needs to be evaluated by your dermatologist. D is for diameter. So if the diameter is larger than a pencil eraser, that's something that we may need to look at, in clinic. And then E is for evolving. So if the lesion starts to either bleed on its own, it's painful, or it's tender, then that's something you should have evaluated as well.
Powerful, powerful. Doc, we have a
Yes.
question from Anita Thompson has a question. Can you talk about Cosmetic Fellowship, its length, and what advice you may have for med students who would like to pursue this field?
So great question. I did a cosmetic fellowship after my dermatology residency. I did it out in Salt Lake City under Dr. Mark Taylor at the Gateway Aesthetic Institute and Laser Center. So after you attend medical school, you'll do your dermatology residency, which is 4 years. And after that, you will do a cosmetic fellowship if you decide to choose that field of dermatology. Most fellowships are 1 to 2 years in length, and during that time, you really start to learn about a lot of the cosmetic and aesthetic procedures we do, such as Botox and fillers. You can learn about chemical peels. You can also learn about different lasers and what's appropriate for different skin types, because that's really important in dermatology. My particular fellowship, it was at one of the largest laser centers in the U.S. We had over 70 lasers, and I not only learned how to treat acne scars very aggressively, because I do think sometimes you have to push that envelope, but I also learned how to do eyelid surgeries. I learned how to do liposuction. I learned how to do intimate wellness procedures. So different fellowships will sometimes offer you different advantages in learning how to do different procedures.
Dr. Davis, I used to have low self-esteem when I was younger, being biracial and trying to fit in with African Americans and Caucasians and just kind of being stuck right in the middle. And I can't imagine how many people have possibly low self-esteem because of their skin color, wishing they had another skin color. What kind of advice hope can you push out there tonight for that person who's they're just wishing they looked another way?
I always say that, we are designed to be who we're designed to be. I usually tell patients that we all have unique features. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different shades of beautiful skin. So I just really try to encourage patients that we all want to age the best version of ourselves. So let's, kind of customize a plan that's going to be safe and healthy for that patient, that's not going to necessarily harm their skin. And let's start to embrace the natural, beautiful features that they have.
Is there such thing as plastic surgery addiction? Because you see the rise in plastic surgery, different types. Talk about the person who may be addicted to plastic surgery.
So we do sometimes see that both in the dermatology, plastic surgery, and cosmetic field. Sometimes we refer to that as perception drift, where oftentimes patients will start to do procedures and they slowly start to become accustomed to this different version of how they looked, when we sometimes have to go back to their original photos and show them, okay, well, these were your natural features that we started with, and this is what we're slowly trying to enhance. But I do think with social media, everybody kind of being in front of their computer screens, we're all looking at different images of what, technically beauty is, and I do think that, there are a lot of impressionable minds that start to get influenced by that. So again, I try to, talk to my patients about just their natural features. Everybody is not going to look like, a Kim Kardashian or a Jennifer Lopez or a Kylie Jenner. And those are beautiful women. They each have their own features, but again, we all have our features that are unique to us.
And also, Dr. Davis, let's talk about briefly how important it is if you're going to get any kind of procedure done, not to get an undermarket procedure, but to make sure you have a board certified surgeon who's going to operate on you, because so many things can go wrong when you look at financials. If I just pay less, I can get the same thing done, and it may look good in the initial stage, maybe, but if it can come back to get you in the long run.
I had this same exact conversation with a patient earlier today. So again, I always recommend that patients look up the background of whoever they're going to see for any type of procedure. But of course, I always recommend your board certified dermatologist when it comes to your skin, because we are the experts and we have studied the skin extensively. I also recommend that all of my patients, when you're looking to do a particular procedure, do your homework. And definitely, if you're going to see a dermatologist, ask to see before and afters. Ask to see how many procedures they've done. Ask to see, have they treated patients of color? You know, I think all of these questions are appropriate and no one should get offended. I try to show as many before and afters to my patients so they know what to expect and they know that I'm very qualified to do whatever procedure it is we're discussing. But there are a lot of Groupon ads out there, and I often will tell patients that some of the horror stories or rumors that they hear, it's not necessarily the device or the treatment itself, but it was the operator behind the treatment, and that usually is where sometimes you see things go wrong.
And Doc, can you close us out with the word to all the brothers out there? Because I've had a hard time connecting this right here. I've tried all the oils. I've shaved every day. When I grow it out, it's still real patchy right here. Can you give any of us hope with the patchy beards, how to make it full so we can have good confidence and self-esteem?
So I did not think you're going to ask me that question, but that's really good because, again, you know, men, they want to look good too. So believe it or not, Rogaine is actually a great option. I know sometimes people don't think that it works, but Rogaine does work twice a day. The Rogaine that you find in the stores, it does take about 6 to 9 months though with consistent use to see the hair grow. Other things you can do are also sometimes just different treatments. So again, you may want to have your beard assessed by board certified dermatologist. And believe it or not, you can even do hair transplants. They're safe to do in skin of color. And we could always take a little hair from somewhere else and just put it in your beard and make it nice and full.
All right, everybody.